Alright, we all know that sometimes life goes wrong. You can't get the girl that you like, you get laid off at work and you wanted more money, or they're just not giving you the type of freedom that you need in your creative passion, and also, you suck at Apex Legends. But somehow we all can shrug off the fact that we don't always get laid, we don't always get paid, but if we get sprayed by an R99 or a wingman in Apex Legends, we feel like we have to do something about it. So hopefully that's why you're here for this video. Today I'm going to give you 10 tricks and tips and basically just things to do instantly that will improve your game. I'm not kidding, this is not clickbait. These are literally 10 things you could do right after watching this video that will make you a better player and will improve your game, not only individually, but also what you can contribute to your team. Now, I've covered a lot of different tips, from high ground to maybe not reviving mid-fight to trying to figure out how to get the best bang for your buck when choosing which weapon combo suits your style. But today we're going to go into 10 general tips that I think people don't do enough, things that aren't on everyone's mind, and especially if you're new to the game, can be very difficult to even focus on because you're just trying to learn the weapons, you're trying to learn the characters, and you're trying to basically learn the rhythm of how to get wins in this game consistently. Anyways, if you're here for the first time, I appreciate you watching. You'll get the style of my videos pretty soon. I like to have fun, I like to be creative, and I hopefully like to give you guys advice that is actually going to help you in your game. So without further ado, let's get into number 1. So the first tip that will instantly improve your game in Apex Legends is to reload behind cover, otherwise the poke and peek. Now, this is something that a lot of people do not do. They try to reload mid-fight or they reload in the open, and this is one of the biggest windows for people to actually take advantage of the fact that you have no bullets. When you get familiar with the weapons, you know that an R99 has this amount of bullets, a wingman has this amount unless it's got an extended mag. You know, when that reload moment happens, that's when someone is most vulnerable, and I see a lot of players run out, continue the fight, not take cover when they should. That is the most vulnerable time for you. You should also wait and see if they reload out in the open, because that's a perfect time to push them. A lot of times guys will be trying to push me, maybe in a house, maybe on a staircase. I'll wait for them to basically spray all of their bullets, and then I'll jump down and try to attack the fight. Because if I do hit them, now they can't even reload. They've now been put under pressure. I could keep pursuing this fight, and they're either going to have to use their meds, which means they're not firing back at me again, or they're going to have to reload, and this time I'm on them, so if they reload, they still won't have any bullets to fight on me unless they switch to their other weapon. So this is something to be aware of. It will immediately help you win these fights and min-max opportunities where you could lose, but now will win. The second tip for those who want to instantly improve in Apex Legends is to COMM first, cancel later. One of the things I've gone by as a player is that if I think I heard someone, if I think someone is close by, they probably are. I know a lot of people will complain about footsteps. Dr. Disrespect will throw his headphones off because he says he can't hear anything. But at the end of the day, Apex Legends and Respawn have put together a very good sound situation for the game. If you hear someone, if you think someone's in a building, they probably are. Ping it and then make the decision to actually say, oh no, they weren't afterwards, because it's way better to be thinking someone's there and they're not than to be caught off guard. The reason people don't do this is because they don't want to ping unnecessarily. They could be there, but if they aren't, then my teammates might get mad at me, or I'm playing with randoms, then they won't trust any of my other pings. Screw that. Ping if you think you see someone, if you think you hear someone. Say, my bad, thought I saw it, but it's better to be aware that someone could be there and to be watching your six, watching your back, rather than being caught by surprise. Now we've got a double whammy. This time we're going to talk about the 3 and 4 tip because they go together as a result of managing your inventory. So if you want to improve, let's first talk about the first pillar of managing your inventory, weapon ammo. Have you ever been that guy with a wingman and 400 heavy ammo? Or maybe an R99 with 1 stack of light? Or maybe you just carry every single syringe and shield cell you ever find and never have any room for anything else? So if you're rocking something like a shotgun or a wingman, something that hits heavy, has a punch but a very slow fire rate, and doesn't quite use a lot of miscellaneous bullets, so to speak, has very hard hitting bullets, these are things that you want to keep smaller stacks of, because the chances of you having to go into 2, 3, 4 stacks of that within a fight are very, very low. Wingmans typically only need 1 stack, so do shotguns. Same thing for a longbow or a triple tick. You probably only need 1 stack, but the energy ammo you might just want to keep on reserve because it is harder to find if you do find yourself needing it in a pinch, so maybe 2 stacks of that. However, when you move into weapons that use a ton of ammo, that's where you really want to stack it up. If you have a Spitfire, as much heavy ammo as you can carry, brother, that thing will melt through it. R99s as well, that thing essentially eats bullets, so you need as much light ammo as possible. Now, Rainday, why will this improve my game? Well, it's because of the stuff you'll be able to carry outside of that, which we're going to get into right now in the number 4 tip, which is managing your inventory with grenades, ARCSTARS, and thermites. Essentially, we've seen a couple of esports tournaments for Apex Legends, and one of the things that's impressive is that the way they play this meta is very grenade heavy. ARCSTARS, frag grenades, thermites not so much, but definitely the former two are really the go-to slots that are taken up after the ammo, after the meds are handled by a player. At this point, I'm not even mad if I have 8 grenades, 4 ARCSTARS, and 2 thermites. As long as I have enough meds, shield batteries, as well as ammo for my weapons, that's good for me. I mean, if you're running a Peacekeeper and a Wingman, you could have 1 stack of shotgun ammo, 1 stack of heavy ammo, and the rest could be meds and grenades. I mean, this is a great use of your backpack, and I think most players who are new do not put as much emphasis on having grenades and having ARCSTARS in their pocket. This is how you force enemies into bad situations. They're hiding behind cover, maybe they're in an open field beside the rock that they're sitting behind, they have a longbow, and how do you get them into a visible location? That's where you throw your grenades. That's where you throw your ARCSTARS. You apply pressure and you open up the opportunity for them to make a mistake or at least have to move out from where they are. Especially if you're a player who likes to hold W, who likes to get into fights, grenades, ARCSTARS, even thermites can be clutch to no other degree. Cover is really important in shooters like Apex Legends and in Battle Royales in general, and if you can get somebody out of those, heck, why not? Late game fights are often determined by who runs out of resources first and who has to kind of traverse this dangerous middle ground of I'm going to one spot of cover to the next. So grab your grenades, prioritize them, drop the 25 shield cells that you have, and get a few more ARCSTARS. It will come in handy much more than the extra meds in your inventory, I guarantee it. Now it's time to talk about number 5, which I guess is still an inventory list, but it is meds. And which ones should you prioritize? Which ones are honestly the best to keep, and how much should you keep of each? So the inventory is very important, but meds, I think, for newer players can be a little confusing. So let's kind of rate them in order. Obviously, medkits are very important, but they take longer. Syringes are great because they're quick, they're easy, and of course, if you need a little bit of health fast, they're probably your go-to. A Phoenix kit is good to have maybe 1, maximum 2, especially if you have a higher tier backpack, but you do not need any more than 2 in any circumstance. Shield batteries are really the most bang for buck because not only are they faster than medkits, they also heal you for your full shield and scale extremely well based on how good of a shield you already have. If you have a tier 3, tier 4, you're getting 100 health back off of 1 shield battery, and that's 50 shield better than if you have only a tier 1 shield to begin with, a common white shield. So all these things make shield batteries really, really good, especially towards the late game. You want as many of those as you can. Shield cells are great because they're quick, and they are the quickest, I think, med that you can take, and they also give you 25 shield, which is essentially 25 health, but they're faster than a syringe. So if you need to pop one, probably pop the shield cell because you get back to the fight a little bit easier. Ultimately, you don't need more than 6 shield cells and 6 syringes, probably 3 med kits and 3 shield batteries, and maybe a Phoenix kit. If you do want to have more, try to get more of the shield batteries, I would say. I don't think you need more than 3 med kits. If you're full healing with a med kit 3 times in a fight, that's a crazy fight, brother, or you are definitely going to lose. I don't know which one, but that is absolutely not territory you're usually in, especially if you kill a few people mid-fight. You can always replenish. So we finally talked about the inventory. I haven't really talked about any of that in my video, so hopefully that was helpful, especially if you've been watching my channel mainly for Apex stuff. Let's move on to the other thing that I think, number 6, as to how to improve instantly as an Apex Legends player, and that is to wait when you're using your shotgun for people to jump. Guys, shotguns are a big part of this game, whether you like it or not, and jumping makes your opponent extremely vulnerable because you know where they're going to land and you know their trajectory. This allows you to not have that wiggle where you miss, they wiggle back, you miss, they wiggle back, you miss, and now you're running out of bullets, running out of time, because meanwhile they've been reloading and now they're ready to spray you down. Waiting for that opponent of yours, if they are jumping, to jump is a very good way to just land a consistent, full damage shot and hopefully turn the tide back in your favor. And it's kind of easy to tell if someone's jumping mid-fight, so if they definitely are trying to avoid your shotgun blast and juke you out like crazy, just wait till they're about to land, or once they leave the ground, then line up your shot and make them pay. Okay, moving on to number 7, that is to holster your weapon mid-fight. Now, I know it's a little weird. Obviously, you're fighting, so why would you holster your weapon? Part of it is just movement, right? It's being able to move faster in those situations where you do want to reposition. Whether it's behind a box, whether it's to chase someone down, holding your weapon will slow you. And so if you holster it and really get comfortable holstering your weapon when you don't need it, obviously making sure it's reloaded, you want to holster, then have to bring it out, then reload, right? But if you holster it, you'll be able to get that little bit of movement speed to not only continue a slide, but maybe to just reposition so that opponent is now under pressure yet again. Honestly, a lot of people just keep their gun out throughout the entirety of a fight, and it's one of those easiest ways that I can kind of tell that a player isn't very experienced in Apex Legends, because movement is so key, especially if you are running away from someone. Holstering your weapon can save your life. Not only on the offensive is it great, but especially if you're trying to cut that corner or trying to get that little bit of room to pop a shield cell and then get back in the engagement. You know, people die very quickly in Apex Legends, especially if you got wingmans and R99s on the other team, so be cautious of this. I think if you start holstering your weapon and moving, you will find that you just have so so much more freedom in getting to where you want to be, healing up safely, and getting back in the engagement. Now, the number 8 way to be a better player instantly in Apex Legends is to understand doors. Doors can be your best friend or they can be your nightmare. There are tons of videos going over the meta and the way that people use doors to their advantage and also can get taken advantage of. We're going to break a few of those things down, and of course you guys are free to go ahead and look up doors on your own time if you want more. So I'm sure you guys have played against the person who goes into a room and stands next to the door. That means you cannot open it. You can't open it inside. Even caustic traps or downed players can block doors if they're standing right next to it. So the only other way to open that door is to have them open it or to break it. You could shoot it, you could break it with ARCSTARS and grenades, you can kick it down. But that's where the interesting part comes in. When you kick down a door, you're basically animation locked. So the person, if they are smart, can go inside a door, wait for you to kick it once, then wait for your animation of kicking it twice. What they can then do is shoot you before you have a chance to get your gun out and shoot them. So that kick could actually be kicking you out of the game. So if you're the player inside, this is a great tip to be able to use when someone just wants to kick it down and get in as fast as possible. But if you are trying to siege, it's very important that you understand that you don't want to put yourself in any worse of a position than you are already in. You have the advantage, they are in trouble, they're low, and they're inside. So how do you get them out? One of the great ways is to copy what was happening in Fortnite, where people would basically throw a clinger and they would throw a second clinger the second the first clinger blew up, which means that they would blow up the wall, and instantly before another wall could be placed, they would essentially throw that clinger inside, cling onto the opponent, they'd have to run away, or they would have to take all the damage. In Apex Legends, you could do that with ARCSTARS, you could do that with grenades. I've actually done that in one of my recent gameplays, and it's probably the best way to siege someone safely without putting yourself in a compromising position. If you're inside and you know that somebody's coming into your room, maybe they're kicking, remember to try to get that first shot off, be ready, and maybe even throw a grenade of your own. If they're about to kick it, throw an ARCSTAR down, and the second they kick it, it'll blow up in their face. You've already left the room, you've made your escape, and you've done some good damage that's going to slow them down. All right, baby, we've only got 2 more, so let me know what you've liked the most out of the list thus far. If you have any other suggestions for the list, make sure to leave them in a comment as well. I'll be reading through all of those. But the number 9 most important tip to improve as an Apex Legends player instantly is to actually shield switch. Now, I do recommend this to be done by players instantly to improve, but I do also say that this comes with a bit of a caveat and is a little risky, especially if you're worried about your teammates swapping and grabbing that shield. Say you're the only one with a level 4, you want to swap to a white to gain 2 extra shield cells rather than wasting a shield battery, but then when you come back, your teammate, after the fight's already scooped up your level 4, that is something that could come with shield switching territory. However, if you're using it to win the fight, you really can just save yourself resources, and most importantly, save yourself time. Now, this is mid-fight, and it will require you to loot, and that is one of those things that's kind of tricky territory as well. If you loot too much, you're doing yourself a disservice, even if you're shield switching, but if you loot too little, or you don't loot at all, maybe you could, save some resources if the fight starts to be an extended one. So you have to play that based on your own experience. The only time it's pretty cut and dry is after a fight, maybe your shield is down. Instead of using that shield battery, run over to some of those boxes, see if they have the same level shield as you. Then you can just switch, and you'll be able to save a shield battery. Hashtag value, my dudes. And now, to finish off the top 10 most important tips to instantly improve as an Apex Legends player, number 10 is to hip fire. Guys, I know this is a newer video for newer players, but if you have not been hip firing, you need to start looking at the cost-benefit analysis of it. ADSing in Apex Legends gives you so much of a slow penalty that unless you're running a wingman or a shotgun, it's probably not worth it. If you look at the assault rifles, your R301s, your Hemlocks, they slow you by 50% in ADS. Your light machine guns, the Devotion, the Spitfire, slow you by 60%. I mean, sniper rifles slow you by 65%. Whereas Mastiffs, Peacekeepers, EVA 8s, like I said, the wingmans and some of the pistols, or not at all. Shout out to the P2020, the Wingman, and the Mozambique for being the only 3 guns that do not have any ADS slow. As you apply more pressure while you're hitting your shots in hip fire range, you're moving faster and they're missing more and more of their shots, which means it's a win-win and pressure is consistently mounting onto your opponents. The second I started hip firing with the Spitfire, with the Devotion, with the Havoc, even with the R99 up close, I felt such a huge difference, and especially when you're running the R301, because the R99 slow is only 15%, but the R301, it's 50%. 100%, guys. It's a very common weapon that people enjoy using. I guarantee a lot of you have been ADSing when you should have just been hip firing and getting so much more damage and bang for your buck because they're not able to hit you as easily. If someone has a wingman and they're moving just as fast while ADSing on you in a fight and you're trying to ADS with an R301, you're just standing still. There's nothing easier than that. So the second you put this into your repertoire, the second you become a better player in Apex Legends. At the end of the day, guys, there's so many ways to improve that it really is a personal experience. Maybe some of these tips landed, maybe some didn't. Maybe you're a new player, you've never played, and this really helped you in general. Either way, let me know what your experience was, and I appreciate you watching up until this point. I am going on a really cool event here. Red Bull Records has actually asked me to go and play with the band Beartooth over in Dallas, have a cool little LAN party, play some Apex Legends with a couple other creators, and I'm really stoked for that. I'll be there Friday, so follow my Instagram if you want to see some pics. I'll be doing a vlog about the event while I'm in Dallas, so stay tuned for that. That should be pretty cool coming on the channel, most likely next week. And again, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, please subscribe for more, and of course, let me know what you think. All right, Rainstorm, thanks a lot for watching the video. Many blessings. Remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and I will see you all next time.